Looks like we got our first guest coming in the building. Danny, are you ready?
I'm ready, champ.
It looks like it is Shane. What's going on?
What's going on, guys? Man, you good?
We're good. We're good. How are you, Shane?
What's going on? What's going on?
Good to meet you.
Yeah, what's going on? What's going on?
So Shane Watson is from Sam Boxing, right?
Extra boxing, yeah.
Bo, can you fix the mic, please?
We're in.
All right. So how are you, Shane?
All good, man. How are you?
I'm doing well. Happy now that your mic's connected, we'll be able to hear you. Oh, there you go. So how's the time zone treating you, right? I'm sure you're from the UK, no?
Yeah, from London. Got out here 2-3 days ago.
Okay.
Doing a training camp out here with Joyce. Got a big fight that's going to be announced. I'm hoping early next week. It's been working hard on it behind the scenes, but we look like we're getting some of it now. So hopefully get something big announced next week.
Nice. Yes, I hear Joyce is sparring Michael Hunter.
Yeah, man.
The bounty hunter.
Yeah, they sparred only a couple of rounds the other day, not many.
Yeah, 4, right?
Yeah, 4 rounds, but they're doing 6 tonight, 7 p.m.
7 p.m.
Yeah, that's it, 7 p.m. We're getting an update on how that goes on. But you know what, Michael Hunter's just started his training camp, so you know it's not the best Michael Hunter yet. He's just in there trying to get fit.
Mm-hmm.
I think he might be fighting the same night as Joe in the UK as well, so I've been told. Not from him, I got told by someone else, but some good rounds, man. Listen, he's a world level heavyweight, so he's gonna get Joe in the best shape possible, and hopefully Joe can do the same for him as well.
Now, why'd you guys choose Las Vegas? Is it because of Salas?
Yeah, mostly because of Salas. Yeah, like Joe's been around with a lot of great coaches who have all added to his game. But we just feel that, like, with Salas, man, you can't even argue with that guy's resume, man. That guy's had, I think, 18 world champions, trained the most successful Cuban national team of all time. Like, wow, like, you gotta, like, when that guy talks, you just shut up and listen. I mean, he's that kind of guy. Joe connects to him really well. Joe listens to him. Joe respects him. And, that's most of the reason. But also, Joe's got a thing for, like, warm weather training. See, when he's in London training, like, he has a lot of distractions and stuff. Here, it's just eat, sleep, train, repeat. So, and like I said, he likes warm weather training. Like, he already doesn't like getting up early in the morning for like his morning runs and training and stuff. So at least this way, it's a bit better when you're waking up and it's like 28 degrees going on 40 in a day.
So Shane, take me back to the beginning, man. How did you get in boxing? How did you end up in this position to be, what is your title?
Chief Operating Officer now.
Yeah, so I was going to ask, obviously, most people wouldn't know what that would mean for, in the boxing world or for you. Just walk us through everything and how you got started and what it is that you do on a day-to-day.
Yeah, so I started out in boxing when I was about 18, 19. I met a friend at university and we started just like a random YouTube channel. We was like interviewing fighters on there. Interviewed like Floyd Mayweather on there, Conor Mcregeor and whatnot. And I kind of got a bit tired of that, to be honest, because I just felt like it was very repetitive. So then I met a guy called Adam Morley and Sam Jones back then, I'm now 21 at this point. And they asked me to get involved in a management company, which is SJM. And then I came in a role as operations manager. That means I was doing like a lot of work behind the scenes, basically. And then Sam Jones left, went to Pro Bellum, and then I got promoted to Chief Operating Officer. So I was doing the role that he was once doing, which is just like organising all the fighters, training camps, helping with fights, matchmaking, all kinds of things, basically. And then, now here I am just doing that. And day to day, you're looking after the training camps. I'm out here with Joe, helping with getting the big fights on, sponsorship, everything. Like, you do everything for them.
How difficult is it for a training camp to take place, across the world? Like, you guys packed up, moved, came to Vegas, and obviously hosting training camp here. But there's a lot of moving pieces that are involved with that. Talk to us about that. How difficult is it, or maybe you're a pro at it now?
Yeah, do you know what? Like, so I haven't actually done too many training camps here. I did one in December as well, so I'm still learning on the job because it's very different out here. Like, the way how you work your sparring partners is different out here. The money you have to pay them is different out here.
How so? More or less?
Like, you know what it is? You get different personalities, man. I feel like they try to trick you sometimes. They try to charge you more, but It's, do you know what it is? I think it depends. Like, see, like someone like Michael Hunter, because he's got a fight day coming up and he's already world heavyweight. You don't really pay those kind of guys, but it's more like the younger ones that are coming through that maybe have to take time off of work and stuff like that. That's kind of how it works, really.
Yeah.
So kind of more, kind of less, but because Joe in the UK is obviously a much bigger name than what he is out here. Everyone kind of looks to him for money because they know what kind of money.
Shane, let me set some sparring for you live on air right now. I got Robert Garcia. We just drove to Robert's gym, and he asked me to find him some heavyweight sparring.
Oh yeah.
For what's his Mexican heavyweight's name?
I can't remember his name, but he's undefeated.
Is it Sanchez though?
I don't remember. He has an undefeated heavyweight.
It's pretty big too.
Yeah.
It's big. If Joe's preparing for someone 6'7" or 6'9", he's that tall.
Who
is 6'7" and 6'9" apart from Fury? Ain't no one is that big, is it?
I felt like they said he was 6'7", 6'9". I felt like he was 6'6" because I'm 6'5". I'm like.
Yeah,
I'd
say he was about your height, 6'5", 6'6".
No, he's definitely taller than me.
He's taller than you, so he's at least 6'6".
6'6", 6'7", easy.
Yeah,
he's tall. 3-0, young guy, Mexican. Trained by Robert Garcia, and Robert will be here this weekend. So
is he out here in Vegas as well?
No,
well, they're in California, but
Riverside, but they're coming.
Yeah.
they're coming.
He's not, but if you say yes, I can make the call and make sure that he's in the trip.
Listen, maybe we can talk. Maybe we can
Get him here for Saturday. Because Robert gets here Friday night, so
he gets here
and they're
tonight.
just coming to chill. But
he
we
did
could
say
change that.
he wanted to bring him specifically because more heavyweights out here than there is.
No, that's another good thing about why the training camp's good. The heavyweights you get here is outrageous. Like, I turned up and I was like, so we got a guy that helps us with the sparring as well. It's one of Salas's lawyers, yeah. His name's Jose, he's a good guy. And he was like, I had the sparring sorted out already. And then he had out of nowhere, he just dropped Michael Hunter in there in the day. And I was like, man, that's the kind of good heavyweight sparring you get out here.
Absolutely.
Like, so yeah, that was really good, really good.
I mean, and you guys got Johnny Rice out here. I mean,
he's sparring him
Yoko
too.
was out here. Kristen Thun was out here.
Anderson, he holds his camps out here as well.
Johnny Rice was sparring him at the moment as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know about Tony Yoka, man. Joe Joyce and Tony Yoka don't really like each other because of Olympic.
Yeah, well,
gold medal
Yoka's gone. I mean, he went back to France for that fight. I'm sure he didn't come back, but he held his camp here. He was in Bones Adams last week.
I mean, he's got a lot of work on himself to do after that last fight against Piccoli anyway, man.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know what that judge was thinking in that fight either. That was just crazy. But
yes, no, definitely. So for you, what is your goal with Joyce? Because obviously you don't only have Joyce.
Can I jump in? Because since you're going to the fight, I want to stick to him before we switch to the fighter. So when you say you took over for Sam Jones, is he no longer part of this? Because I thought it was SJ Boxing, right?
Yeah, it was. So we kept the name the same just because we felt like it worked. But now he's no longer a part of it, man. He left.
Not even a shareholder.
Not even a shareholder. He left in November, and that was that. Cut ties, but. We're still friends with him. We still talk all the time. We're still friends.
But it wasn't his company?
It was 50-50 with him and someone else.
Okay, then he was
and the
bought
other
out?
guy who was Adam Morley, he's now the owner of 100% of the company.
So he bought him out.
Yeah, he bought him out, yeah.
But Sam did not keep his contract with Joyce?
No. So Joe's contract was with S-Jam. It wasn't primarily to Sam personally. It's to S-Jam, yeah? So it's to the company. All the fighters are signed to the company, not to like this guy or that guy.
So he had no claim to the fighters when he left?
No. They're just S-Jam's fighters.
Wow.
Yeah. That's
it. It was a Jerry Maguire. Like, who's coming? No, what was it? Is it Who's Coming With Me? I forgot. It's so old, that Tom Cruise movie. But
no, but he's but it was just a good voice, man. He was a good voice. He gave the guys a lot of good promotion because he was a talker. He got people looking at him, people talking about them. He was big in the Dubois Joyce fight because they played it as like a rivalry, like Frank Warren versus Sam Jones. So, do you know what? He more than played his part, man, and he's a good guy, and he's still our friend today. But yeah, things move on, ain't it? That's life. So,
wow. All right, so that moves you into position, and I guess Danny was you were gonna ask about Joyce, but again, I want to ask, what's your goals in this? Like you've taken over. What's your 5-year, 3-year plan?
Well, see, that was kind of mine was
because you were going to Joyce though.
Well, no, I was curious on his goals with Joyce in the camp, like this camp specifically.
Yeah,
this camp specifically. But yeah, I mean, we can get to you and then.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's like. I take each day more as it comes because, like, for me, first and foremost, my goals is to make all my fighters happy, to make sure they all earn the most amount of money and come out with their health intact, just like it was before they joined it. That's my goals always at the moment. In years to come, obviously, you always want to progress. You always want to achieve more. You always want to earn more. Like, you always want to do all these things. You want more world champions and stuff like that. But I think for me now, it's all about making SJAM grow in the right direction with Adam and signing the best fighters in the world and building the best and biggest stable we can do. So that's just the aim for now. But that's it for the next few years. And the more you keep doing that, the more money you earn. And also, the better you become and the more experienced you are at your job. So that's more what it is for now for me.
Speaking of the biggest and best, how many fighters are on the roster?
I think 11. We tried to keep the team fairly small because that was a bit of the attraction with the SJAM management company rather than some of the other guys, because with us, we're a very hands-on management company. Like, we don't just give you a fight day and say, hey, see you fight night. Like I said, we travel out here, we go and see them all the time, we go and watch them spar, we go to all of their fight nights, we go out for food, we do everything. Like, we're like a family. So, and if you sign 200 fighters, 150 fighters, you can't do that. It's impossible. And it's impossible to care about that amount of people. Like, if you keep it small, then you care about them all and they're all like a family to you. But if you sign 150 people, I find it hard to keep in contact with my friends and that because of my job. I can't imagine what it'd be like keeping in contact with 150
No,
guys.
absolutely. Couldn't agree more. So with Joyce being here in camp and you guys being here in camp, have you guys maybe considered bringing other fighters out here, under SJAM to maybe get some, like you said, there's great work here in Vegas, great sparring. Have you guys considered that, moving forward, maybe bringing some more fighters out to Vegas for camp?
Yeah, like Solomon, man.
Yeah,
what is it, Dakers or Dakari?
Oh yeah, Solomon Dakers, yeah.
Dakers.
Yeah, very good heavyweight, man. He's got a fight on July 9th. He's fighting July 9th.
Yeah, when's he gonna get some American soil sparring, man? Listen, Craig Richards came out here, changed his life in his opinion. Man. And I mean, Joyce keeps coming out here. Tyson Fury keeps coming out here. When are you gonna bring Solomon out? Yeah,
you know what? That'd be an aim for the future. I mean, he's just come back off a shoulder injury. So he's just been out for a while, since October 9th, actually, because, he had a bit of a shoulder problem. But he's had it ever since the amateur, so he's never really had a fully fit shoulder. So he's going to be out July the 9th. I think as he steps up a bit more and earns more money, I think he'll definitely like to come out here for training camps. He's always thinking of ways to better himself and whatnot. But right now, I think for where he's at coming off an injury, I think he's good where he is. But I think... listen, as we go on like 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0, he wants to step up really fast as well. He don't want to wait around. He's talking about fighting people. I know Lucas Brown isn't a great heavyweight right now because obviously he's had a lot of hard fights, but to fight someone like that after being only 3-0, that's the kind of fights he wants. Lucas Brown, he wants to fight Fabio Wardley.
Solomon.
Yeah, he wants to fight all these guys now. Like, he ain't messing around.
Wardley.
Yeah, that's what he wants to do.
You have a relationship with Matchroom?
Yeah, he's with Matchroom. So I've got like 3 fighters with Matchroom.
But they're not gonna do that right now. Wardley's like 13-0 at this point.
Yeah, but the difference is Wardley had no amateur career. He fought in a circuit called unlicensed. Yeah, and unlicensed boxing, if anyone doesn't know what it is in England, it's like I fought in unlicensed.
It was like prize fighter, right?
Yeah. It's just like anyone can do it. Like I've fought unlicensed myself. I wasn't any good, but I still could do it, right? So that's all he did, and then he went into pro boxing. And in fairness to Fabio, he's done really well to achieve what he has coming from that background because he's achieved a lot already, and I think he can achieve a lot more too. But Solomon fought in WSB, fought for Team GB and whatnot. I mean, the experience and the skills he's been able to learn over his whole career, which you may not have seen it because he's only 3-0. But going into a fight like that, I think things like that would show and tell.
Wanted to ask, what's up with Guido?
Yeah, he's been out for a while, man.
Yeah, I mean, I felt like
was that fight tough? That tough? Is he contemplating retirement?
No. Don't be crazy, man. He's still here. No, he's just been in London sparring. He's coming back from a really long-term wrist injury, really bad. So he didn't actually think it was that bad. He went to the hospital just for just a quick checkup, and they thought it was just going to be a minor surgery. They opened it up, and they were like, "Wow, man, how the hell have you been sparring and any of that stuff?" So he was out for 6-7 months, couldn't punch at all.
Oh wow!
So yeah, but he's recovered now. He's sparring well. He's actually going to be out in July. I think the date targeted for that is a top-ranked show, July 22nd.
Okay.
So he's back, and he's looking at decent opposition. He's looking at like some 16-4, like 22-3 kind of guys. So he's gonna have that one, and then we're looking at a title fight, I think, because I think now Guido's, again, a good amateur. He's been around. I think he's ready for those step-ups, but I think it's important.
No, Jared Anderson was telling us that Top Rank wants to eventually give him Guido. What you guys going to do?
Listen, this is top-level boxing. They both get paid good money. They're both coming up heavyweights. I mean, well, obviously, right now, Anderson's a little bit ahead because, obviously, the setbacks that Guido's had. But in the future, that's absolutely a fight that we can make. Like, listen, it's heavyweight boxing. Anything can happen. I believe in Guido's ability and skills, and Jared Anderson's a very, very good heavyweight in his own right and a potential future world champion. But what are you in boxing for if you're not here to take the big fights?
So we got Ruin of 504, and these are some questions from our most loyal listeners. This is New Orleans. He says, when will Leorim Richards return to the ring?
Yeah, man. I'm actually quite happy someone brought that up. But Leorim Richards, so yeah, IBO super middleweight world champion, the most avoided fighter I've ever worked with in my entire life. Yeah, you name a super middleweight, I'm telling you right now, they do not want to fight him. Yeah, I know that stylistically he's a nightmare, slick southpaw, good chin. Not that he really gets caught on the chin anyway, but and he's a nightmare to make fights for because maybe he hasn't got the biggest name in the world and doesn't provide the big pay packets. But oh my God, he's so hard to get a fight for. We're working on a new date for him now. What's
the budget like for a guy like that? Because I mean, Demetrius Andrade needs a fight. He wanted to move up to 68.
Yeah, I mean, the fight we could have made. Leorim would have taken that fight, but where Andrade is WBO mandatory for the interim belt against Zach Parker at super middleweight, it's almost like, why is he going to go and fight a way harder fight against Leorim when he's almost got? And if he wins that, he might have a shot at Canelo.
I mean, I think either way it's hard, right? If Johnny Beck wins, he's got nowhere to go. It's like, if I go back to 60, I got to deal with Johnny Beck. If I move up to 68, Leorim Richards at least brings an IBO title where he was only winning an interim had he fought Zach Parker. But
I think Andrade's whole goal is to fight Canelo, isn't it? As we saw when he stormed that press conference after the fight.
I don't know that ever happens, especially now with this setback. Had that been a bowling pin that Canelo knocked over, then he can keep knocking other guys over. But it's like everything changed with this. Like, does he do a rematch? Does he realize that he's too small for 75 and go back down, fights the likes of Triple G?
Yeah.
When does Andrade truly have a shot? Like, I don't even see where he fits in the picture.
I mean, I think with Andrade, listen, he's like similar to Leorim in that sense, but obviously he's been around a lot longer and he's been at that level a lot longer as well. But like, why would you want to fight someone like that? Horrible stylistically, unbelievably talented fighter that you necessarily don't get the pay reward that you maybe should for taking a fight like that. It's a difficult place to be, and I feel like Andrade's got to be one of the most avoided active fighters as well. And I just think what he needs is that kind of level of a fight, and then maybe he can get other big fights, and he needs to get that win. It's unfortunate that him and Billy Joe Saunders actually didn't happen. I felt like that was the win for him if he did win that fight. That could have propelled him onto that Golovkin like scale fight and Canelo.
It's funny you mentioned that specific fight because we actually drove they did a press conference in Boston. For the fight and to announce the fight and everything. And I remember we drove up there and that fight, because they both have like great personalities and they both were talking so much shit. I remember we were there with Kid Galahad in the lobby, and
he wore the like old school army outfits, and he's like, the redcoats are coming. It was funny. I mean, he went all out, Andrade, and Billy was definitely doing his part to promote it, but he tested positive. And never went back to that fight.
It's a shame, man. You know how excited I was for that fight, man. That was such a good, like, ability-wise. I know two southpaws, they never usually make for a great fight, right? But, like, ability-wise, and the trash talk, and that was years in the making, that fight, man. And hopefully it's still never too late, because I know Billy Joe's coming back in September against, I think, John Ryder. So that's another rematch.
So he is coming back.
Yeah, he's training.
Good for him, man. I didn't want to see him go out off a loss like that.
Yeah.
It just seemed like he was grabbing, the check.
Yeah, and he's been training for a while with Dominic Ingle, the guy that used to train him. So he's back with Dominic Ingle. I mean, Dominic Ingle, they've done great in the past together. That's why they got his career best win against David Lemieux with Dominic Ingle. But I hope we see him in the ring again.
Oh, you think that's his career best?
I think you would almost have to. I feel like that night, I think he showed that he was elite level fighter.
You
that
don't
night.
consider the Eubank win?
No, man, that was a poor performance, man. Honestly, like if you compare the performances there, Eubank, he won a split decision.
Yeah.
No, I know, but isn't Eubank a bigger name though?
Yeah, but bigger name doesn't mean it's a better win. I mean, bigger name in the UK, but worldwide, I'd probably say Lemieux's a bigger name. Lemieux,
he's fought a lot of
1.9 million viewers on HBO that night,
And then
or something like that.
And then I remember that Lemieux fight. He just made it look so easy.
Yeah.
So easy. And that Lemieux was not the Lemieux we're gonna see tomorrow.
Yeah.
That Lemieux was a very good Lemieux at the time. So
Yeah, and
I
I
would
mean-
agree.
And he weren't even the favourite in that fight, Billy Joe Saunders. And to do that on a way, that was why it's big, because it was like his US breakout fight. And everyone was like, wow, this guy don't just talk. He can actually go in there and do it as well.
Right.
But that Billy Joe Saunders, for me, doesn't exist at super middleweight. You know, his legs don't carry the same way. His extra 8 pounds. Like there, he was very elusive, very, very quick feet. Like you saw when he fought in Sufi at 168 for the vacant title, he got caught, he got buzzed. I know you might not necessarily look the same against Canelo because it's a different kettle of fish, but didn't look the same there again. At super middleweight, he's never really set the world alight, really. He hasn't. And even when he fought on the Logan Paul undercard,
I
KSI,
remember that.
he was losing the fight going into the 10th or 11th round.
When he got the knockout.
Yeah, and he clipped Kokores.
I was there.
knocked him out.
I was there. That was the second KSI Logan Paul fight.
Yeah, that's it. And like again, he still looked nowhere the same. He needed a KO to win the fight. So that's my opinion on it.
So Shane, now that you're here, did you give Chris Lovejoy a call?
Do you know what? That guy doesn't. I don't ever have to give that guy a call, man. That guy loves messaging me, calling me all the time. But he wants to fight my heavyweight, Johnny Fisher, actually.
I know. That's why I'm saying, like, now that you're here, get him in some Joyce sparring, see him up close, know whether or not this is the fight.
Do you know what? I don't even want to be disrespectful to Chris Lovejoy, because I always got respect anyone who puts the gloves on, yeah? Because they do something that I don't, and I live in this sport, and I can see how difficult it is, yeah? So when I say this, it's not being disrespectful to a boxer or the boxing community, but I'm not being rude when I say this. If he sparred Joyce, right, that spar would not end well for Chris Lovejoy whatsoever. And I don't mean to be rude. Like, we're sparring very good heavyweights out here to get Joe in the best possible shape. That is just not going to help Joe's career whatsoever, sparring Chris Lovejoy. Like, and I like.
Well, no, it was more for you to get a look at Lovejoy to know whether or not it's the right fight for Fisher.
Do you know what it is for me? I feel like you just got to look at Chris Lovejoy's performances in Mexico against blowing up featherweights to heavyweights.
Oh wow!
Like to know that if he's ready. I mean, if Johnny Fisher ain't ready for Chris Lovejoy, he ain't ready for boxing at all. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful. It's like Johnny Fisher will knock Chris Lovejoy out in 2 rounds.
So what's the holdup? It's been like a year or more that you guys have been going back and forth.
Mate, I
mean, Sam was still on the company when this all sparked out.
I mean, let's look at Chris Lovejoy, why he never fights anyone, because he's just a nightmare. He came all the way to England and couldn't even fight Dave Allen, yeah? Because he had these problems with Don King or whatever it was, but the guy is not serious, man.
Okay.
He just likes to wind people up and have a joke. And you know what? I think he's such a lovely man, by the way. And that's why I almost feel rude and horrible saying, because I like him a lot. He's funny. He's charismatic. He's made a career out of being that way, I guess, to some extent. And fair play to him. But like, if that fight ever gets made, it's going to be lights out very early. But listen, I don't even know if I want to make that fight, because I don't know if Chris Lovejoy is going to turn up in the ring. I don't want to get into fight week. Johnny Fisher's gone through the trenches and training camp. We're out here in Vegas waiting for Chris Lovejoy to turn up, and we can't find him anywhere. So, do you know what I mean? I don't know. But it'd be interesting for sure. He's got a lot of character. So
what is next for Fisher? What sort of level of opposition are you looking for to put him in against?
He's coming off a hand injury. A lot of our heavyweights are getting injured these days, but he's coming off a hand injury. He's been out for a few months because he was meant to fight 7 times this year, yeah, which is crazy, right? But he's got a very good deal with Matchroom. He's meant to fight 7 times this year. I don't think he will fight that many times now, but I think next, he needs a bit of a softer opponent. He fought Gabriel Ngumia in his last fight, who even AJ said is one of the most awkward guys he's ever sparred. He's Spanish heavyweight champion and whatnot. Like, you got to remember, Johnny Fisher had no amateur career either, really. I mean, he had like a couple of senior fights at whatever level, but so like he needs to be taken a bit slow. He's still a young man himself. Thing is, you take a decent fight, then you've got to consistently fight at that level and above. And at his age, and what is he going to be fighting for, like world titles at 25? So like, it's got to be realistic. So I want him to go in there with like a fairly even record guy or slight winning record guy. Test a hand out. See how he gets on, and we'll move on from there. But we're looking at getting him out in early August.
Okay.
Shane, how old are you?
26.
So I'm curious because obviously you're in a very, big position at a young age. And for me, I'm 25 and I started the same way you did, doing interviews, and now we're here. So I'm sure there's plenty of learning on the job for you. How are you able to adapt, and is it overwhelming at times?
Yeah, do you know what? Obviously I'm very young in the role. Luckily enough, I had two very good mentors, Adam Morley and Sam Jones, who taught me a lot. And they can teach you so much, but you've got to learn on the job as well. I've made a lot of mistakes. I've made a lot of rights as well, but that's how you learn, isn't it? Like trial and error. A lot of these things are trial and error for anyone. How do you go into a management role and whatnot and just already know how to do it? Like there's no course you do at university and say this is how you do it, this is how you become a good manager and whatnot. You get some people that have been managers for years, or the roles of a manager or advisor or whatnot, and they're still not good.
That's true.
And they still rob fighters. Their fighters still take the wrong fights, still get the wrong money. There's no list, and like boxing, you've got to tick to be the right manager. I feel like you just got to have it in you and study this sport relentlessly. I study this sport relentlessly every single day. I fall asleep every night listening to interviews, watching boxing videos every night, and it's the first thing I do when I wake up as well. Study it relentlessly, and then that way you'll always be halfway to getting it right, and that's just what it is. The important role for me is to matchmake for our fighters, so it's knowing the circuit everywhere you go. And it's very difficult in America because, see, the differences here. You will have like your winning record guys here. You have someone with like 30 wins and 8 defeats, and they've got no fights on YouTube. I'm like, how the hell is this guy had 38 fights? Even some of them for like a USA state title or something. And there's not one fight on YouTube. And then they're like, do you want to put your guy against him? I said, well, not really, because I don't even know if this guy's a southpaw, orthodox, and there's no footage. What is the game plan? We don't know who the guy is. It's like going back to the amateur days.
See, the difference between us and you guys is that you guys have the BBSC, so you govern the entire country.
Yeah.
Here, each commission is individual to the state.
Yeah.
So there's no, I guess, unified location or centralized location to keep all this information and or footage, or mandate them to have a video of certain level fights. Like you said, if you're going to fight for a state title, at least put some fucking video.
For example, in the UK, a lightweight, how many ounces gloves would they use?
Say second.
A lightweight fight in the UK, how many ounces would the gloves be?
8.
It would be 8 here, unless the opponent in Nevada tells you no, then we have to use 10s.
Yeah, it's crazy. That's
so
crazy.
You get what I'm saying? Like in Illinois, the title fight, regardless of what belt you hold, whatever you weigh on weigh-in, the morning of the fight, you cannot be more than 10 pounds over.
Yeah, of course, yeah. Do you know what though? Like sometimes I find that to be quite a good thing, the whole rehydration clauses and things like that. See, like when Canelo fought Amir Khan, like things like that, for example, just outrageous. Like I think, what did Amir Khan walk in the ring that night? I think 158, 159 or something, he said. And Canelo came in at, what is it, 185, 188 to 190?
Oh, I didn't know it was that heavy.
Yeah,
it was something like that, he said. And I was like, mate, that is crazy. Like, that is absolutely nuts. Like, that's almost like 2-3 weight divisions apart. Like, I think sometimes it's a good thing. I think that's what Kell Brook struggled with, was the whole rehydration clause, to be honest with you. Because he would struggle so bad to get down to 147.
Then he had to stay within 10 because of the IBF rule.
See,
Exactly.
but the IBF rule is within 10 of the weight limit. So it's within 10 of 147.
Yeah.
In Illinois, it's within 10 of what you weighed in at the scale. So if Kell Brook came in at 146 and a half, he can't be more than 156 and a half the next morning.
The good thing is, though, that teaches fighters to fight at their natural weight then, doesn't it? Because then you're not going to struggle. I know they still do it, because they have this thing, fighters have this thing in their head, which I've never really understood, maybe because I'm not one, but they think that getting themselves down to a weight they're not strong at is a size advantage at that weight, but it's not if you're going to be weak at the weight. So like, why don't you just fight at the weight that you are strong at and just don't have this imaginary size advantage and just fight there? Like, that's what I don't understand, because you're killing your career. This is why some of these fighters fade 32, 33, and they don't have the same like punch distance or anything anymore.
I mean, perfect example. Look at Floyd and Manny when they were at the peak of their stardom, and all these mega pay-per-view fights. They were at the welterweight division, which was probably their true walk-around weight, right?
Yeah.
Those were guys that were always within a handful of pounds of their walk-around weight. So at least at that point in their career, so and they obviously very successful. You know, had plenty of big wins at that point. So I think you make a point. I think you make a good point.
I got a few more. So I see Darius picked up a win on the 14th. What's the plan with him? And is that the only American fighter signed to SJM boxing?
Yeah, he's the only one we've got as of now. Obviously, we've got Guido, who's American-based, but he's the only US national we got on there. But listen, we signed him because we're looking to branch out more into the boxing in the States. I feel like to be a worldwide successful management company, that's the thing that you need to do. And also the dream of building a US pay-per-view star, obviously that'd be like a massive tick off the list, wouldn't it? But I went to that fight in Dallas on the undercard of Spencer Ugas. Do you know what, man? It's so frustrating a bit about Dallas because that guy is so talented. It is unbelievable. I've watched him spar Andrew Tabati. I've watched him spar Jared Anderson. I've watched this guy spar many
Darius sparred Jared.
Yeah, all the time.
Because he moved down, right? In the amateurs, he was a heavyweight, but he's no longer fighting a heavyweight, correct?
Yeah, I mean, if you watch how this guy eats, I swear to God, me and him, Joe, and everyone went out, and he was finishing it for everyone's plates, and the guy had a fight in a few weeks. I think he likes fighting naturally bigger guys because he's very pacey and got very fast feet. And he spars Hergovich, everyone. He sparred everyone, that guy. He's not scared to spar anyone. And do you know what? He does more than a good job on all of these guys as well. He sparred Joe loads of times as well. But yeah, he's incredibly talented. And I think he's starting to show that a little bit, but he hasn't necessarily had the platform to really showcase his skills because where he fought so low on the card that time. And the other fight was in Mexico. But his next fight is going to be fighting in August, I think, on potentially a Triller show. So I think he'll be a bit higher up on the card on there and hopefully get a bit more exposure. But this is the thing, I know that Probellum is still trying to break out in the States, so they haven't got a US TV deal as of yet. So it's difficult to get Darius higher up on the bills when you're fighting on other people's shows, because why are they going to want to prioritise a guy that's not their fighter and give him that exposure when they're not getting their own guys exposure?
Of course.
No, I totally agree. But why did he make 173? That's very low.
You know what? He can make super middleweight. We're gonna try and make super middleweight. That he makes 173 so easily. He was drinking all week, eating fine all week. Not a problem. He's not naturally that big. He just walks, eats like normal. Not
he's only 6'1".
Yeah.
6'1". So I think that right there, that's a really good height for super middleweight, light heavyweight. 6
Yeah, my thing is it's his second fight. Why is he already making 173? There's no title on the line.
Yeah, but he's not necessarily making it. It's just him being natural. That's just it. Yeah, he's not on fight week, got the sweatsuits out, not eating or eating very little or eating once a day. He was eating 3 meals a day all fight week, drinking a lot of water, and that was what he weighed. That is it, man. That's why I said he can make super middleweight easy. If you're fighting for a title or something like that, he'll make super middleweight for sure.
So if he's fighting for a title, he will campaign at 168.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I said to him. That's what I'd like him to do. Well, next time he fights, we'll bring the weight down even more. Maybe let's go 170, just so we can keep seeing how he naturally fights as the weight comes down. That's what you can do at this level. Even though you're fighting half decent guys that are 4-1 and whatnot, guys that are coming to kind of win, but you can kind of test out how he feels comfortable moving the weight down. So when you eventually do fight for a title, we'll know how he makes the weight and how happy he is with it.
So what is the plan with him? Because you debuted him and then he jumped to a 5-1 fighter. So it's is he on a fast track or was that just what was available? Yeah. What's the plan for Darius?
I mean, and this is a credit to boxing in the United States, and I actually really like this as well. So a lot of these big shows, they don't want journeymen on the bills, so they make you fight guys that are kind of coming to win, which I really like because. Listen, that's what fans want to see, don't they? They don't want to watch you beat up some guy that literally has been paid to lose. So that's what I like. Darius fought at a very high level as an amateur, won the Golden Gloves and whatnot. So why should he fight terrible journeymen? He's been fighting good fighters his whole life. So why is he going to fight terrible guys now, I thought. So for me, it's again, we'll take each fight as it comes, but I feel like we can step him up quite soon. I feel like he believes in himself. You watch him spar against these very good fighters, world-level fighters, and he's doing good jobs with them, stopping some of them in sparring. Why are we going to fight some terrible guys? He wants to be moved fairly quickly. I'm not going to say we're going to do this Lomachenko style and fight for a world title in a couple of fights, but we'll look at getting him to 8 and 9-0. Maybe start looking at like some international titles or something like that, and then build him up from there. He's very confident, and his self-belief is incredible. Like mentally, he's in the best place he's ever been right now as well. So there's no need to make it really slow. But like again, you can't even really slowly build a fighter on these big shows because they don't allow you to. And the thing is, with your boards here, like they like Texas and whatnot, Nevada, they're very strict on like
who they approve.
Yeah, exactly. So they know that Darius can fight, and they know that he was a good amateur. So they're not going to allow someone like him to fight some guy with 4 wins and 28 defeats, and he's been knocked out 24 times.
Not in Texas.
Yeah, exactly.
Or Vegas. Yeah. You could get that off in North Carolina, in Atlanta, but not in Texas.
Yeah. So like, for me, like, and it's good. I agree with that. It should be that way. It's dangerous putting these high level guys in with someone that's so low level.
We always, because let me tell you, BoxRec's a motherfucker, and we always find these Brits with they're like 12 and like 113 or some shit. Yeah. What's up? Why? How in the hell is that getting licensed out there or sanctioned out there?
Do you know what? So it's your journeyman again, very different to the UK, right? So these journeymen in the UK have like 170 defeats. Yeah, we've got one guy who's got 210 defeats. Yeah, I think 11 wins, right? But genuinely has never been dropped, never been stopped or anything, right? They're so defensively sound. Like you don't catch them clean, and even if you do, they hold. So that's it. So it's like you're learning, and it's just frustrating, really. And I still don't really.
I mean, I think it's more of a learning process. I've been in the sport so long that the journeymen in the UK, it's like you said, they're crafty and they're there to give these guys rounds. It's like you look at them, it's 100 losses or 70 losses, but not very many knockouts. Like they know how to survive. So it's about giving your guy rounds and development.
Let me tell you, I went to a show, and it was a major promoter. I'm not gonna say who it was. It was a major promoter. And we're at the weigh-in, and it was a small show, right? But the promoter was a major promoter, but it was a small show. And we're at the weigh-in, and the fighter fought at 112, and the opponent came in like 117.
Oh, wow.
And I'm like, so what you gonna do? He's like, bro, we gonna take some money and we taking the fight. And I'm like, yo, you guys like, the guy must have been like 4-0, 5-0, and he was going up against a guy that was like, he was like 6, but like in 48.
Yeah.
And had only been stopped like 3 times. And I'm like, yo, that's dangerous. Yeah. He's like, man, we're going to get through this guy. It was a tough fight. And it was a close fight. They did give it to the guy with the experience.
What?
But he popped hot.
Oh.
He popped hot. Yeah. But, yo, and it was crazy because it was one of those, like, it was competitive at first, and then he just took over, and it was like a 10-round, and I'm like, what are they doing I felt bad, and it was one of those things, like, so many losses, but in like 48 losses had only been stopped twice.
But that's it. They're so defensively well sound, and they're so experienced. They do this every week. These guys don't fight once every 4 or 5 months. They do that every week. In the UK, this is why they don't get stopped, because if they get stopped, they can't fight for a whole month. Yeah, so they've just lost. Say like a typical journeyman over 6 rounds would get like 2.5 grand. If you've got a fight every week, you've just lost yourself a lot of money, yeah? And they depend on that money, right?
So they'd be getting 2.5 grand every week?
Yeah, well, if you're because some journeymen will fight every week. Some journeymen will fight every single week.
Which is crazy that their commission approves. You gotta have at least 2 weeks between fights, and if you've been knocked out, it's 3 months.
Oh, is it 3 months, right?
Yeah, yes. Unless you can get cleared by your personal doctor.
Unless you're cut or knocked out, or in some cases have been ones when they've been really hurt, but it's gone on still, then obviously they'll make an independent decision on that. But then it's 30 days. It's not even actually a full month, so it's usually 30 days,
Yeah. No, actually, in Nevada, depending on how you are knocked out, I've seen they'll suspend you up to a month. So it's like you can get your license somewhere else, but you won't be able to fight here.
But the other good thing with the British board, what I will say is, if you are one of these journeymen who does get knocked out a lot, which isn't very often, they will just take your license away. Simple as that. Like they'll just be like, you know what, we're stepping in. The health guidelines in the British Boxing Board and Control are really good. I can't really fault them that way.
So Florian Marku is another of your fighters. He is ranked about 13 in the IBF. That division and sanctioning body obviously belongs to Earl Spence, Terrence Crawford. Then you got your Boots Ennis's, Virgil Ortiz, Connor Benz. What's the plan for Florian Marku, and when do we see him in with some big names?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Conor Ben's named yet deserves to be mentioned amongst those guys. I feel like those guys are like a level above him right now. I think where he's operated, I mean, if your best win's Chris Van Heerden, and we're talking about, you know, Errol Spence and people like that, I feel like Conor's got a lot of work before he gets there. Improving all the time, though.
I would say Chris Algieri's probably the better one, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah,
still
he was a former champ.
good name. Yeah, he's former, man, but the guy's 38 now, you know, like, and he almost lost to Tommy Coyle. Tommy Coyle almost knocked him out in what, round 2? And that was on the AJ Ruiz undercard, how many years ago? But, you know, I like Conor Ben a lot, and he is talented, and he's improving all the time. Since that time when he almost got knocked out by Cedric Payne some years ago, he's improved tons since then. But I think he's got a long way to go if we can mention him in the same sentence as those guys. If he does get the Keith Thurman fight, that's the perfect fight. If he wins that, put him onto that stage, because obviously if you beat Keith Thurman, then you're doing very well, aren't you, in that division? So, but for Florian Marku, very good.
Would you put Marco in with...
We've been trying to make that fight for the past 2 years, man. Like, that fight would sell out any arena in the UK, because Florian Marku's got an incredible fan base, yeah, that follow him loyally around the world. We'd put him in there 100%. Like, we believe in Florian Marku. He's a very good fighter. He's got a very good training setup now with Grant Smith, who Sonny Edwards and that is trained by as well. And he's doing really well, coming off a career best win against Chris Jenkins. He's very experienced, former British and Commonwealth champion. He's won some international titles as well along the road. And Florian knocked him out by far the quickest of his career. He'd only ever been knocked out once before that. And yeah, listen, I think we're looking at a big fight for Florian in September in the National Stadium of Albania. We're looking at like maybe 34,000 people coming to watch that fight. So
Against who, though?
Yeah.
well, it's going to be an IBF international title defense, so it's going to be someone of some kind of decent level. But the difficult thing is with Florian, like who do you kind of fight? Like, who do you bring over financially?
Formella.
He's got a
Common
fight.
opponent.
He's got a fight with Chris Congo.
What about Tulani Mbenge?
But he doesn't. You know what is Mbenge? Yeah, he's a good fighter. Yeah, and I rate him as well, right? But he doesn't bring much to the table. It's like you want to fight a guy that's a bit risky, which is fine. By the way, we're up for taking risks. There's no problem with that. But they've got to bring some kind of value to the table. Like Mbenge, if you beat him, like then it don't really elevate you in any way. Really, it just doesn't. So they've got to bring some kind of risk reward factor.
Can you get Castillo approved? I know he just was knocked out, but it was only one fucking round.
Yeah. Well, maybe I was looking at maybe Thomas Delerme.
Okay.
Like those kind of guys. So we were looking at Victor Ortiz.
Have you spoke to Delorme? You spoke to Delorme's people?
Not yet. It's just names.
You know he's out here. The manager's out here.
He's out here.
You don't know the manager?
No, I've never spoken to him.
We're gonna give you his number.
Yeah.
We just bumped into where we were at with him.
One of the fights, I think.
And I think
the Rolly workout.
Delorme's coming, he said, right?
Yeah.
I don't know when, but
Let me hit him up.
Yeah, that kind of level, guys. I think it's good. I think that'd be a good progression fight for Florian. And so yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, at least the risk reward factor has got to be there. Like, you know, with Mbenge, like good fighter.
What about a Granados?
Granados, Adrian.
Yeah. But
Common opponent with Ben.
He kind of ruined, like for the British fight fans, he kind of ruined his reputation a bit when he turned up to fight Conor Ben, because he ran the whole night. Let's just be real. Until like the last round, he kind of gave it a little bit. Yeah. So like you don't get the reward from beating him. Like if you lose 2 rounds against him because he turns up a little bit of better performance, and everyone rates that to Conor Ben's. So again, the risk reward factor is not there. And I actually rate Granados, by the way. So I don't know why he turned up like that.
Yeah, but think about it.
Tulani's ranked 8 in the WBC.
Yeah, but I'm not saying about rankings wise. I'm saying more known wise.
No,
like,
I know.
Mate,
I'm just saying it.
British fight fans are ruthless, man. I know the fight's not in Britain, but it'd be primetime TV in UK. They're ruthless. They'll be like some guy. He's probably like my dad watching it at home. He'd be like, "Oh, who's this guy?"
You know, it's funny.
Aegis Kavalaskas.
Mean Machine.
I think that's a bit of a step up too much right now. I feel like we got 1 or 2 more learning fights before we go to that level. Kavalaskas.
Are you looking for an American televised fight, or are you looking for a UK televised fight?
Yeah, I don't necessarily, not looking for one specific, as long as one of them have done something in the sport and got like a decent name and they've been around. And
I got the perfect name. And he's with Dazn. Blair the Flair.
Oh, yeah?
Off the loss, no?
Yeah.
Do you know what?
The press conference?
What? That press conference would be insane.
That press conference would be insane.
He's looking for someone to sell the show.
Yeah, I don't know if they'll make the ring though. That would kick off at the weigh-in. Could you imagine? There'd be submissions and all kind of things going on at that fight, man.
I like that one.
Look, let me tell you, we were at Bones Adams' gym, And he walked in his first day back in the gym after the loss.
Yeah.
Walked in like shirtless, like nothing.
With a vest though.
Well, yeah.
A leather vest.
A leather vest. It's like 95 degrees outside. Leather vest, no shirt. You know, the glasses on in the gym. And I'm just like, all right, he's back. You know?
He's back.
Nah, I like Blair Clubs, man. He's, you know what? It's what the sport's about. He's entertaining.
Yes.
Listen, he's still a good fighter. Losing to Rocha, I mean, there's no shame in that, man. That guy can really fight and he can whack. But yeah, I mean, that is a cool name. I quite like that name, actually. I mean, he's got a good attitude as well. And that would be that. Listen, he don't want to be acting like that in Albania, man. I'm telling you, like you treat their superhero like that. I swear to God, good luck getting into the ring is all I got to say to him. But
you mentioned how ruthless the UK fans are, and we were actually talking about that yesterday. And I wanted your thoughts from you, firsthand view. What is the consensus in the UK amongst the British fans on the undisputed fight between George Kambosos and Devin Haney?
listen, do you know what? This is why it's good that the British fight fans are such big boxing and fight fans. Like, they know a good fight and a big fight when they see it. I mean, that fight has just got a lot more interesting, isn't it, with what's happened recently with his dad not being there, no Ben Davison either. So it's a bit interesting who's even going to do his corner at this point. I mean, but...
Well, Judah, Zab's father.
Oh, yeah.
Zab, I'm not sure if, being Devin's godfather.
Oh, is he?
So, obviously the Haneys and the Judahs go back since before Devin was even born, actually.
Oh, right.
So Bill told us he wanted somebody familiar and somebody who's been on that big stage before. And obviously Zab has been there and his father's been in the corner. So that's who will be leading the corner as of right now, because Bill's not denied.
Yeah.
Bill's not denied entry, but he's not approved entry as of yet.
It's what? Because it was criminal conviction. Was it 1996 or something like that?
92, 30 years ago. 7 years before Devin was even born.
But you know what? They're strict on things like
Yeah.
that, right? Because, I mean, we've just seen the whole Novak Djokovic kind of situation and whatnot about the vaccine and stuff. They obviously, to even go to Australia, like, you have to live there, you got to bring a certain skill, right? Like, you have to be like a plumber or a nurse or anything just to live there. You can't like, I don't think I could just go and live there. I feel like you got to be like I said, like a plumber or like a painter and decorator. You got to bring like a certain skill to the country to live there. So they're very strict on who they.
I don't know. The dude that cleans here, Austin, your time to shine. The guy that does our housekeeping in the building, he lived there for 30 years.
I don't know what he was doing there though.
Did he have a relative there or something? Maybe.
No, he said he went on vacation there,
and never came back,
and then never came back for 20 years.
20.
Yeah,
20
I don't know if he did that legally or what, but I don't know how he did that.
Yeah. No, it's definitely a problem. I mean, even for me, we've made some mistakes, and for me, I'm like, so I am actually. Bill's is more serious, but I had to do some similar to where I had to get a character evaluation, and
which is crazy. He served 2 tours, and they're still asking for a college. He just got out the army 60 days ago. They want a character evaluation.
I made a mistake, had an arrest in my past.
Before though, right?
No.
Wasn't it before the army?
It was actually while it was while I was in the military, and nothing came of it, and it didn't matter. Like, nothing came of it, and it didn't matter. They're like, no, we need a character evaluation. I had to get a copy of my record, just to be able to get a there's something else.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I don't even know why would you put an event in a location that makes it so difficult for tourism. But what do you got?
So he's right. Like, to qualify, you'll need to either be sponsored by an eligible relative or be nominated to apply by a state or territory government agency. You must score 65 points or more and be under the age of 45 when you apply, and your occupation must be on the list of eligible occupations to move to Australia.
Point system. Sounds like the Premier League table or something.
Sounds like the Premier League table.
Man.
Oh, man, that's so but so you said that the fight fans see that as a real fight. For us, a lot of people, like, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm happy that the fight is happening, because to me, this is the real undisputed fight. But a lot of people like myself felt that was a bad deal, in the sense like, oh, I win in your backyard. Now I got to come back a second time, beat you a second time. And then
in your backyard.
And then after that, now I got to fight the guy who requested not to fight me and requesting the franchise belt, and Vasyl Lomachenko on pay-per-view. It's nuts.
It's a difficult argument. I mean, there's the whole argument that Devin Haney's an email champion. There's a real argument as Devin Haney's never really beaten anyone in their prime at the natural weights. Like, you know.
So, but and that's, you're right. There is that argument, but that's where a lot of people like myself would argue. If he's not as good as people like me believe he is, then why are they avoiding him?
No, why is he the favorite in this fight in Australia?
High risk, low reward is why they avoid him. You can go and fight other guys and earn the same amount of money with low risk, or you can fight.
How? If Devin's the highest paid lightweight in the world, no one gets more guaranteed money than Devin Haney.
Why do you think Matchroom was so reluctant to let him go and fight on a Top Rank show and sign a deal with Top Rank? The guy is crazily overpaid, and I don't like using the term overpaid because actually no boxer's overpaid. They all deserve the money they earn, but I'm just talking about in the landscape of boxing, he would be seen as overpaid.
You know, it's crazy. He signed a deal obviously with Top Rank, Lou DeBell and ESPN. The Dazn deal and it was funny, right? Because the picture that was being painted.
Well, let me just take, because I don't know that what Shane said is correct, because I don't know if you know, but the DAZN deal would have paid Haney more. So Matchroom and Eddie still wanted that fight on DAZN, put an offer out there that Kambosos refused.
Yeah, no, but this is what I'm saying. This is Matchroom, basically what they're doing, they was taking a gamble on Devin Haney for him to be that superstar, and because they believe, and I actually believe, he can beat pretty much all of these guys, right? And then he becomes that superstar, and I think that's what Matchroom are banking on. That's why they've been so loyal to Devin Haney. And that Bill Haney speaks about this in interviews as well, doesn't he? About how good Matchroom have been towards
No, absolutely, absolutely. And he was like the thing. He's like, yo, we were happy with Eddie, we were happy with Matchroom, but at the end of the day, we wanted to fight. And he's like, I think that they were calling the bluff. Like, you wanted that bad, take this bullshit deal. Yeah. And they took the deal.
Maybe it was. And I think, but you got to look at, like, let's go back off Devin Haney's past fights, right? Jojo Diaz. Did any of you guys go to that fight?
We were both there.
So like there was hardly anyone in the arena, right? It was quite empty.
It was over 7,000.
No way. 2,700, man, with the crowd that night.
No way.
2,700.
Bro, it was in the second ball.
No. Honestly,
bro, I was there. They even booed Haney. I couldn't believe it. That didn't sound like 2,000. There's no way. Google that. There's no way that was 2,000.
And a lot of those would have been comps as well, yeah? A lot of those would have been comps, right?
I can't believe that was 2,000.
No, but no, closer to 3,000, like 2,700, 2,800, yeah.
Hold on.
And a lot of those are comps as well, right? You go look at Gervonta Davis and people like that and see the tickets and numbers that they bring in. And this is exactly what I was talking about, like the pay and whatnot, and the viewership. I mean, obviously DAZN's still a growing model, so maybe it's not always fair to compare against some of these bigger platforms. But that is why I'm saying, like, overpaid in that sense compared to what some of the other guys get.
Well, I mean, do you think that changes if he wins the belts?
Well, it's got to, isn't it? That's it.
I mean, not necessarily. Even with belts, some champions aren't worth, you know.
I mean, but yeah,
they can't get certain fights.
In that division, you have to be, though.
Like Andrade's a champion. He can't get any fight he wants.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but it's different if you hold all the belts in arguably the most competitive and talented division in boxing. So, and like Devin Haney's got a mouth.
Well, I mean, keep this in mind. Look at right now. Shakur, you would say, is a talent, superstar talent, right?
Yeah.
Bob is telling him, don't go for undisputed because no one's going to pay to watch you fight Ioka and whoever else has the other belt, Gutierrez.
Yeah, but I feel like names-wise, no one, like, apart from the hardcore boxing fans, might not necessarily know who they are. But like I'm saying, in that division, everyone knows who everyone is. Like, even if you're not a boxing fan, people know who Tank is. People know who Lomachenko is. People know who... even Kambosos now, Teofimo Lopez, I think obviously he's moving up, but like the people who know who these guys are, I think in that division, I feel like you're talking about some of these guys, and unless you're a hardcore boxing fan, you might not necessarily know who they are.
Yeah, but let's be honest though. See, and I think that's another thing. Like, you're from the UK, like here, yo, how many? You walk down the street with a bunch of fucking fighters, maybe one or two get recognized. Like, people don't know like. I don't even think that George Kambosos is known here. I don't think that, see, the lightweight division, I think that Tank is the obvious draw.
Yeah.
You know,
And Star.
and it shows in
Ryan Garcia.
ticket sales.
Ryan showed because of what he did with To Go. You can't deny he sold 12,000 tickets.
14,500
tickets.
You know,
with a guy from fucking Ghana.
Yeah. No, it's crazy. It's crazy. That's what
And
I'm
let me
saying.
tell you, on this show, when Bill Haney came here in person and mentioned To Go as a possibility for Devin, the world went crazy, ape shit. But 14 showed up when Ryan fought him.
I feel like the audience that Ryan targets, I feel like they would always turn up no matter who he fights. I don't think they're necessarily there to
You
watch.
think it's a golden boy audience? Like, you know,
Yeah.
Oscar used to say, or people used to say Oscar brought in women.
Yeah.
You think that's what it is?
Absolutely. I mean, all you got to do is look for his Twitter replies, his Instagram replies. They're not boxing people that reply on there. He could literally fight my auntie, and I'm sure he'd do 14,000 again. Do you know what I mean? That's just
Insane.
It's just the kind of fan base and the people he attracts, and that's just the way it is. Where I think when Devin Haney fights, he's attracting hardcore boxing fans. So you have to be in good competitive fights, otherwise they're just not going to be interested in you.
Can't let you go without getting your opinion on Canelo Bivol. What did you think, man?
Do you know what? I'm just happy that Bivol got the decision. I was a little bit worried when I heard 115, 113, which I thought was insane.
It was insane. I
was like,
10-2.
they've given this to Canelo, man. That's what my instant reaction was. I was like, that's why they've made it close and they've given it to Canelo. That's what I thought. I'm just happy he got the decision, even though it's disgraceful. It shouldn't even be a topic of conversation. But
Same thing happened to Josh last year, right?
yeah.
I mean, when Josh Taylor fought Jose Ramirez, I thought Josh won the fight convincingly, plus the 2 knockdowns. And had he not got in the 2 knockdowns, it would have been a draw because it was 114, 112 across the board.
I mean, and then likewise, they get him and Jack Catterall. I mean, but Jack Catterall didn't get the decision. You know, that was a close fight.
I think that was different though. You said that was a close fight. Like Canelo Bivol wasn't close.
Yeah.
In my eyes, Ramirez, Josh Taylor was closer, but I think it was still a clear Josh Taylor victory. That was a close fight. I mean, did you think it was a clear victor in the Catterall versus Josh Taylor?
100%. I thought that was clear, man. I thought I had that by like 3 or 4 rounds comfortably, Jack Catterall.
No,
I don't mean
what
clear
you
for
think
Josh
about
Taylor.
that?
To Jack Catterall. If you watch Josh Taylor, Jack Catterall wasn't a clear winner.
I thought
it was close.
I thought Catterall won.
Yeah, but
We did a live fight, chat. I thought he won.
I thought it was. I mean, we both said it was close though. Like,
Yeah, it was close, but I favored Catterall.
yeah,
What do you label as close though? What, 1 or 2 rounds, or are we going 3 or 4?
Yeah, 2 rounds.
2 rounds.
2 rounds.
Yeah.
113,
Is that including the
115.
knockdown?
well, they
Yeah,
both,
well,
got, but they both
you
got
don't
knocked
get-
down. So it kind of offset it because obviously, we each get 1 knockdown. It kind of offset, So it's still like it was still. Yeah, it would be a point. So I guess we're talking like 114, 112 maybe.
Yeah.
So it's still round apart. I thought that was fair. I didn't think. See, to me, I think the word robbery gets thrown around too much, and people were saying it was a robbery. I don't know that it was a clear, decisive win for Catterall, but I did think he won. I didn't think it was just wide. I thought it was a close fight.
Yeah, I mean, the one of the judges that night, Ian John Lewis, I can't remember what the score was he did. It might have been at 116, 112 in favour of Josh Taylor, and that guy has been getting abuse on social media ever since. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, I felt like it was a quite clear winner, and I feel like why didn't Josh Taylor rematch him? If he's staying at 140, why is he not rematching him? I think that's a very good rematch, a big rematch in the UK as well.
Yeah, that was kind of surprising seeing that he was staying there.
I mean,
or rumor is at least.
If he stays there, then I think it's an issue. If you're not going to stay in the division, why give him the rematch?
Yeah, obviously if you're not going to stay in the division. But I don't know. I was just surprised that he's staying there. But then given that he is with Top Rank, they don't really have nobody at 47.
Yeah.
And with the guys that they have at 35, and if Tio actually does move up to 40, I think, even like a Jose Cepeda fight, I think he's been looking really good lately. I think there's fights for Josh.
Yeah, but those are
40.
some small ass fights. Like, you gotta, first of all, if I'm Josh, I have to let Tio move up to 40 and actually make a name for himself. I can't fight Tio off a loss to Kambosos. So now I'm on chill, waiting for Tio to get right. Who the fuck knows Cepeda?
Yeah. And that's a tough fight as well, by the way. Do you know what I
Really
mean?
tough fight. I mean, I don't know.
Risk reward factor again.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
There's nothing there for him, man. He needs.
There's
to
nothing
sever.
there for him at 47 though. Like not with Top Rank.
He needs to leave Top Rank.
And on the whole Bivol situation, as much as that was a great win, obviously beating Canelo is always going to be superb win in any shape or form. But I don't put him as number one at light heavyweight. Going off of that, I feel like
Better be still number one.
Yeah, 100%. I feel like just look at that guy, man, and the wins at light heavyweight.
I'm so
are better
happy
as well.
you brought that up because I have to let you hear some audio that obviously has gotten buried. Here we go.
Roy, are you Roy?
Wait.
Well, this is what I'm gonna say, and I nobody looked at it this way yet, but most of the time when you move up, you just want to move up to get a belt in that weight class and say you did it, and you move on. Either you stay there or you get the heck going back where you came from, right?
Right.
You already did that. You did that when you beat Kovalev. What you going back to do it again for?
Great.
You want to be 2-time like heavyweight? What does that prove? So why would you even waste time messing with Bivol, who was a problem already? Why would you do that? So if you did that, that means that you thought that he would be easier than David Benavidez? Or you thought he might have been easier than Jamel Charlo? Or you the money man, you could have went and gave us something to see with fighting Demetri Andrade. Why are you going to challenge another light heavyweight when you already accomplished that one time? You caught the right one, you did it. Get out and leave that alone.
Sorry.
Well, this is what I'm going to say.
Oh, wait.
Roy, are you insinuating that this was a cherry pick gone wrong?
It was. It had to be.
This was.
Roy, are you,
So Roy is saying this is a cherry pick gone wrong. Do you consider this a cherry pick for Canelo? And obviously, do you think it went wrong?
I think that is one of the wildest things I've heard. You know, how can anyone say fighting Dimitri Bivol at such a weight class as well is cherry pick? That's crazy.
You know who that was?
Yeah, I know exactly who that was, but I just find that crazy. And I feel like I'm being crazy, even arguing against him. Yeah, but I'm being real, right? Anyone who tries to cherry pick Dimitri Bivol, no matter who you are, that is just absolutely crazy. Like,
So you don't think Canelo chose Bivol because he felt he can beat him?
Yeah, I feel like you choose anyone because you believe you can beat them, though. So that doesn't really prove us just anything. I feel like you can't say he wanted to fight Dimitri Bivol because he wanted to avoid Charlo. Oh, come on, man, that is crazy. That is crazy talk. Like, this is a guy that operated at such a lower weight class when he turned professional, and he's moved up to 175 against still one of the top 175 guys. I don't think he is the number one, but one of the top 175 guys.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, for Roy's argument, if it wasn't cherry picking, why didn't you fight Better Beef? It's 2 belts, bigger legacy.
But I don't feel like, I don't know, I feel like going against at light heavyweight, you might not get more respect in the US, but I feel like it's just a much almost bigger achievement. Benavidez is form-wise, like going into that and whatnot, he hasn't always, I don't think he's got the best resume, and I still don't think, even he beats Benavidez, I think after that they'll say, oh, he just beat Benavidez, not in great form and whatnot. So I think you go in there against someone like Dimitri Bivol, lives a life, clean fighter, in great form. Well, not in great form, actually. I don't think he looked that good against Craig Richards, but maybe that is a reason why they picked him. But I don't think they cherry picked him. I don't think you can call Dimitri Bivol in any way, shape, or form. Oh, there we go. Cherry pick, because that guy is unbelievably talented. Look at him as an amateur, some of the people he beat as an amateur as well. And not that we need to go off amateur records, he's done a lot as a pro.
I don't know, Shane. Bivol didn't stop Lenin Castillo. Callum Smith moves up after a busted arm, sparks him and won at 175. Bivol didn't stop old man Pascal. I think Canelo and his team noticed that. Like, all right, Better Beef is a huge puncher. That's probably a little more dangerous. Let's test the water with this guy. They complained that this guy was too old in Kovalev. Let's try this guy and see where we go. But we know he hasn't been stopping anybody, And what happened? We went 12. You know what I mean?
I think more the problem with Kovalev wasn't even about how old he was. I think it's more that it was the back-to-back training camps as well, wasn't it? Didn't he take that?
Yeah, hold on.
He loves saying this.
Because I love when people say that. I mean, Canelo did it twice. Canelo did it from the Callum Smith fight going into the mandatory with Leorim.
He's fresh.
And he did it with the Leorim going into the Billy Joe fight. 10 weeks for all 3 camps. So,
Yeah, but he's a fresh, and completely dedicated to the sport man. We all know Kovalev's difficulties and troubles in his life and stuff like that. He can't live like that. If you live the life like a proper athlete, like someone like Canelo does, lives and breathes the sport, then you can get away with doing things like that and still look great. Whereas Kovalev, it's absolutely not, and he was at the tail end of his career as well. Whereas Canelo was coming into his prime, so it's very different backgrounds and stories, isn't it?
James Valdez in San Antonio, Texas says, who's your top 3 favorite UK fighters and top 3 favorite US fighters?
Active now, yeah. Top 3 outside of Esham Sabre, obviously, because that'd be very biased. In no particular order, because I don't really have an order, but I'll definitely say number 1 is Tyson Fury. I just followed him. I knew him before he even turned professional, actually, and followed him ever since his pro debut. And I remember when I was telling people in bars, pubs, like family, friends, about this guy was going to be the next big thing in heavyweight division. Everyone laughed at me because this guy was out here punching himself in the ring. He was out here
that uppercut,
getting dropped by cruiserweights and whatnot. And it did. Sometimes I had to question myself. What I was saying was just a load of rubbish, but it turned out to be true. So Tyson Fury is definitely one of them. I mean, I'm actually from Scotland as well, so Josh Taylor has to be in there as well. And I mean, even going off of the Jack Catchall fight, even though I'm saying I believe he lost, what that guy's achieved in such few fights is incredible. So deserves credit for that too. And do you know who I'm really liking stylistically right now? Maybe not the most fan-friendly style, but who I think's got tons of ability. Sonny Edwards. Really like Sonny Edwards. So
okay.
What about some American fighters?
Yeah, he get 3. Top 3 American.
Do you know what? Now I'm hearing he's coming back still again. Not that he ever necessarily retired. Deontay Wilder's got to be in the man. Do you know what? That guy is just. I just love watching him. He comes and brings the heat. He wants to listen. I don't necessarily agree with everything he said in interviews about killing someone, but he literally does come to do that. So he has to be in there for sure. Errol Spence for sure. Errol, I mean, I was lucky enough to be at the Ugas fight. Great fight again. He got hurt in that fight badly. I don't know about the refereeing at that time when he got caught with that shot of Ugas, but yeah, I have to put Errol Spence.
Why, you wanted a standing 8?
No, I don't know. I don't really know. Do you know what? I didn't actually catch it that clean as I wanted to see it, but I know there was a lot of controversy around that.
I mean, I felt like it was Mayweather Ortiz where he didn't protect himself at all times. Ugas took advantage. His mouthpiece fell out, so it made it more dramatic.
Yeah.
But I didn't see him hurt or need an 8 count. I can see the debate, but I feel like if you watch the footage, the ropes didn't keep him up. He just went into the rope. I don't think that. I don't think it would be a solid argument to argue that the ropes kept him up, so he deserved a standing 8.
Well, I'm pretty sure that they don't do standing 8s, right? I'm pretty sure that's part
if the ropes keep you up, yeah. If you should have went down,
but they'll call it a knockdown. It's not like
but you still get a standing 8.
Still a 10-8 round. It's still a 10-8 round.
Yeah, but I'm saying like a standing 8 is like obviously like in the amateurs you're hurt on your feet, not on the ropes. We're gonna
I think the reason I phrase it there is because when you go into the ropes, the refs is supposed to come in and call it a knockdown because it kept you up.
Right. Yeah. So yes, the knockdown, correct. So,
but either way, it wouldn't have changed the outcome of the fight, would it? So I mean, their standing count would have given him more time to recover. So if anything, probably would have been worse. But
that's true because he did keep fighting without that mouthpiece for at least a little bit.
Yeah. So that's that. But then it's impossible to not be excited about Boots right now. So for me, like the future of that division. So I'm very excited about him. But I love Terence Crawford as well. But I just feel like I know that there's apparently he is going to fight Spence this year, which obviously the only fight almost everyone wants to see like so badly. But I just feel like he's lacking those career-defining victories for me to get truly excited about him still. I mean, obviously Sean Porter, I don't know if that was an old Sean Porter that night. That's why he retired afterwards. But yeah, he's lacking those real career-defining fights for me. So,
do you feel that the winner of Crawford Spence should fight Ennis, or would you be okay if they moved up and you vacated those titles and not defended against an Ennis?
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like where they've been in that division for so long and whatnot, and that's number 1 versus number 2, which however way you put it. Like, you ain't got to fight any of those guys, man. Like, what's the point? You beat them again. Like, it's still a very good win, but you're not going to get the credit you got for beating Spence. You go up and fight Charlo or whatnot. Like, you get way more credit for something like that, and you probably get paid a lot more money as well. And then if you don't win that fight, you can argue because you went up weight, and you can go back down and still fight these guys. It's a win-win situation, isn't it? So,
absolutely. I think those are all our questions. If you can, please give out your social media anywhere you want to direct our audience. And obviously, we want to thank you for coming in early and coming and talking some boxing with us. We look forward to getting you back on. And hopefully, you can bring Joyce in here.
Yeah, I mean, I was speaking to one of your guys. Yeah, we'll bring him in the next week or two. We're at it for a long time, so something for him to do. I don't know how he feels about the early mornings, though. He's not a great morning person.
We have one afternoon show on Thursday evenings from 4 to 7.
Oh, yeah?
So, I guess we could slot him like a 5:30.
Yeah, maybe that would work. Yeah, we'll get him on. We'll definitely get Big Juggernaut in. He would definitely have to come down, so.
All right, well,
any
social
socials?
media?
Sorry?
Any social media you want to give out?
Yeah. So Instagram, @ShaneWatson, Estram. Twitter is @ShaneWatson95. And yeah, I'm not on TikTok yet, so working on that.
Gotta
one.
get on
Working
TikTok, bro.
Do you know what, man? I feel like social media's taken over my life already. So I feel like if we add another one in there, and especially when I'm seeing people watching videos in there for like 4 hours, I'm like, I don't know if I've got enough time in the day for that.
Yes, that's true, but you got to get on there as a content creator, putting out content, not as a consumer. Because if you get on there as a consumer, it'll consume a lot.
Yeah,
of
you
your
need an
life.
S-Jam
Boxing.
TikTok for sure.
Yeah, no, there's one on there. No, we're quite good on there actually.
Okay.
Yeah, we're quite good. They are, but I don't control that. We've got social media guys that deal with that stuff.
All right. Well,
All right, we're going to take this quick
intermission,
intermission. Exactly.
and we'll be back with another special guest.
Yo, if you enjoyed the video, feel free to hit the like, subscribe, and share. As always, if you want to support us to the next level, head over to the patreon.com/ThaBoxingVoice. We have tons of exclusive from Border Wars, Entitled, betting shows, the list goes on and on and on. But in addition to that, if you guys have questions for fighters, trainers, and promoters, this is where you can submit them. We will run out, get these questions answered, and put it back on the show just for you guys. Appreciate it. Peace.